So here is the Kia EV6 rear-wheel drive single motor GT-Line. Here's a full walk around. So you can see it's pretty nice. Exclude the siren in the background. Not too sure where that's coming from, but here's the car. Really nice lines at the back. Very unique design. So, some key features. You can see how nice the headlights look. The wheels itself. Continental Premium Contact 6 255/45 R20 on the fronts. And it's a square set. So 255/45 R20 at the back as well. So again, zoom out. That's essentially how the car looks like, and it is set to auto fold in the side mirrors based on the current settings. So the one thing that I have found I like is that when you do walk up to the cars, so you can see over there at the moment the handles are all in. As you walk up, the mirrors unfold, and then yeah, they unfold and they self-present. So here's the key. So hold, forward, backwards, lock, unlock, hold that for the boot. There's nothing on the back. So we'll just walk up to it and I'll show you guys what he does. So walking up to it, so you can see these opened up, and then as you walk away, you'll see that they close. So we'll do that again, except I'll leave the camera here panning so you guys can see. So you can see that it's currently all closed, and you walk up to it and there you go. So come with me as we check out the rest of the car. So that was the exterior. These automatically presented. You can also see there's a manual key over here for you guys to get in if you'd like. Also, just on the topic of the mirror, so you can see down below, hopefully you can see, there's a lot of glare here at the moment. Hopefully you can see, that's the camera there for the 360 camera on the side. And then on the front, just below the Kia badge, you can see that one there. That side should be exactly the same. And then let's walk around to the rear. And you should be able to see it right there. So let's have a look at the back. So I've got the kid seats installed. So let me just zoom out so you guys can see that a bit better. So that's 2 booster seats, just bags there so you guys can see roughly how that looks like. And no transmission tunnel, which is great. And then if we come down to the bottom, you can see over there in the middle you've got the V2L. So I'll see if I can just bring the camera around. There you are. That bit there is for the V2L, which we're yet to check out. And then in terms of inside here, so that's the middle seat. That's the cup holder here, and you can actually move that in. So I had 2 standard kid size bottles. They unfortunately didn't fit there. So we had to move that back, and then they fit there. Then also, just on the topic of the interior here, you can see USB-C charge port there. And is there one over here? Yes, there is. So 2 USB-C charge ports there. And let's take a look at the boot. So that's the charge port there. Boot. underneath, over here, that's the button. So by default, you can set the speeds, you can set that there however you'd like. You've got the lights there, that's the button there. Coming around here, you've got the parcel shelf. So again, that usually stays like that. It's not automated to move with that one there, but that's essentially how that looks like. Now, what else do you get with the car? So I haven't even opened this one yet. So this is stuck by Velcro, which is fantastic. And I might just put the camera down here so I can actually just show you guys what we're looking at. Oh, there we go. Okay, so what do we actually get with this? So this is essentially the adapter. This looks like your standard 10 amp. It says 10 amp here as well, right there. And then that is, of course, the charge cable to go into your car to charge at your normal home outlet. And then looking at this, it says power, fault and charge, and then just a little tick. I guess this is essentially the car charger. Yet to give that a go, but that's really just so that you know it's included as a part of this, so you can charge your car wherever you need at any 10 amp socket to keep you moving. So fantastic how they've got that there. Now, other thing to take note of is you also do have a space over here underneath, which literally just has a tire mobility kit. So tow hook and some other stuff, as you can see there. And then, judging by underneath here, there is no obviously spare tire, but there is also this, which I have no idea what it is. It is, this is the V2L. So this is what we'd like to check out, V2L, for some additional accessories. So it's already got some information here about V2L connector in a variety of languages. Here you go. So those are the instructions there. Press the switch, make sure the light is on. When light is on, it's ready to be powered. If light is off, charging is too slow. So we'll have to give that a go later. So let's close that up. Leave that there. Close that down. Doesn't look like there's any other thing below that's included besides a luggage net if you need. You've got a 12-volt socket over here. Panning around to the left, you can see the 3 tether points. You've got hooks here to tie stuff down. This one here you can also open and close, and that looks like something to do with power socket potentially. And then over here, these are to recline the seats. So these seats you can actually recline, I think 2 stages. I've reclined it the furthest back so I could get the kid seats in, and the kid seats they only go up and down, they don't go forward and backwards, and I'll show you what I mean by looking at the front ones. So just to finish off the topic around headrests. So I'm not too sure how I feel about these headrests. To me they look a bit odd, not like your conventional ones, but you can see that over here you can pull this out, you can pull this out again, and if you pull it out 3rd time and let go, it resets. So it's good that they have adjustment there, but from a shape perspective I think it just looks a bit odd. Either way, that's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think if you like it. So the next thing I want to actually show you guys is the Frunk. So there's actually no controls anywhere on the remote or within the car from a button perspective to open up the Frunk to see if there's actually any space. It's a traditional ice car style. So right here. Other things as well to open the charge port is this one here. We'll just quickly look at the charge port actually. and at the same time we'll see if we can close the boot by holding down this button. So there's the boot. Now I'm going to push the button in 3, 2, 1, holding it down. So you've got to hold it down the entire time for it to close, and it's closed. And then I've already opened that one. Let's have a look at the charge port. So I've pushed that. You can see it here. So again, those are all the charge levels is still pretty high. You can open that for the DC charging, and then I presume that one's to close. Now onto the frunk. So let's actually see how much space there is. Oh. So underneath, let's see if I can bring the camera around. There's a button here, and then you can lift it. And gas struts, so you don't need to worry about anything. And it's a really big bonnet now that you think about it. So EV, what's underneath? Okay, so there's some space here, and obviously the battery over here, fuse box and other electricals. So let's see what we can actually fit in there. So, one Coles bag. You guys are familiar with Coles shopping bag. There's also a light over there. Can you fit that in? So a Coles bag, just for reference, sticks out. So no, you cannot fit a Coles bag upright. If you didn't fill all of it and you're okay there, then of course you could fit at least 2 of these. So let's just grab the other one out. Oh, excuse the camera for a moment. So those are the 2 bags side by side with a little bit additional space. But as I said, if you're going to fill up the bags, it's definitely a no-go. But to give context to the side, that's probably how much space there is. And I've heard that in the all-wheel drive dual motor ones, there's even less space. So there you have it. That's the frunk. So how much boot space does this really have, and how practical is this for, I guess, an everyday car in terms of realistic shopping and all of that stuff? Because I really want you guys to understand that if you're buying this car, obviously it's for everyday use, and how practical is it is probably the key thing I'd like to answer. So we'll hold the camera there for a moment. I am going to load up a bunch of Coles bags here, and we'll see how many we can essentially fit and how practical that might be for you guys. Also, in terms of the folding, hold on, I'll just flip the camera around if I can. So whilst you can do the split fold, so it's this side has 2 seats there, and then that side's just a single seat there. But if you actually look further down, oh, turn the camera wrong way, apologies. There's actually no push through, so you can't, there's no way of actually getting long stuff straight through the entire thing. So if you do need to transport anything long or anything big, you will actually have to push down both sets of seats fully. So if you've got kids, they either have to fit straight into both seats in the middle, or on this side, and then one of those sides has to essentially be freed up in order to get really long things across. Alright, so realistic shopping test. So I have a bunch of Coles bags here just for your demonstration, and let's see how many bags we can potentially actually fit. So first things first, it's good to know that if you were to have an entirely full bag, that this bar here is not going to intrude on you putting your groceries in. So the entire thing actually fits straight in. So that's 1 bag, that's 2 bags, that's 3 bags. Got a bigger size Coles bag here. Got 5 bags. So I've only brought 6 bags. But for a family of 5, if you're exceeding 6 bags, then you're probably buying a lot. and realistically you've got a lot more space here. So I'd say realistically, for a weekly shop, if you are filling up all of this, then is it possible? Yeah, let me just zoom in. It's a bit bright here, so not too sure if you can see it properly, but I'm zooming out here. This is the furthest I can have. So that's 6 bags there. And at the same time, the question of, from a privacy perspective, can you actually close this? And also because I'm mindful that if this is an everyday car, sometimes you put frozen goods or milk and dairy stuff that you'd want to stay cool. So can you use this as well? Let's pull that down. There you are. So yes, you can. 6 bags quite easily. Let's close that and let's double check that. There you are. So let's reopen that. So there you go. 6 Coles bags quite easily. And then what else can we throw in the boot? Just to have a quick look. What else have I brought along? Let's go with laptop bag. Alright. So along with this, so let's say you're picking up kids, right? There's one bag, and if you assume this is a small school bag, or even if it's a bit bigger, that can fill up that space there. And this is a thin laptop bag, you could fit that there. So, if you're talking about picking up 2 kids from school and you're doing shopping, absolutely possible. And it's good that that cover straight across, doesn't impede on any of the height storage here. So yeah, and again, look, if you're not using that, this can stay here. Ultimately, this is also removable on that side and also on that side if you really want to take it out. But you can definitely store a lot more there. Now, the other thing I forgot to mention is if you do run out of space here, so 6 bags, as we said, let's have a look in here. How many bags can you fit in here? So, let me just move my tripod out of the way. So that's 1 bag there. So again, if you've got 2 kids like me, or you've got passengers, you fit 2 in the middle. The kids' legs, I guess, can kind of squish there. If they're kids, they'll be okay. Or here, and the legs can kind of go both sides. Or if you're talking about you're not, you don't have any passengers at all, that's about 1, 2, and let's grab a few more. 3, and maybe if I move this tripod out of the way, you could fit 4 like this, or actually you could fit simply 3 behind a seat here. You could fit 3 there, so I'm sure you can fit another one there. So I reckon you could fit 7 across there. So how's that for practical world usage? Alright, so testing the USB-C power points in the car. So this is currently connected USB-C onto my MacBook Pro via the magnetic adapter here, the MagSafe point, and that is capable of 140 watts. So on the back of my seat, you can see currently is on 27 watts only, so probably not enough to power it up. Just unplugging that now, you'll see that it goes to not connected. We're now going to also try the other seat. So this is now connected to this driver seat over here, and again it shows 27 watts. Then we'll move down to the one down here. That's in now. What is it? Also 27 watts, and I presume this last one down the bottom here is also 27 watts. There you go, 27 watts. So what does that mean for everyone? So what it means is that it probably will charge extremely slowly if you're not using it. Otherwise, if you're using your laptop, it's probably not going to charge, because a lot of laptops these days use, I think, 45 to 60 watts at minimum. For the MacBook Pros or anyone with, I guess, a gaming type laptop, and you need a lot more juice, you definitely can't take it out of these USB-C ports. You probably have to use the blue light down there, the V2L port, to plug into an actual power adapter. Okay, so this section might be familiar to some of you guys from my Tesla Model Y video around the turning circle. So remember, this car is not the all-wheel drive variant, so technically should have, and on paper it does. It says that it's got a better turning circle than the top spec or the dual motor. Let's compare and see how it goes against the Model Y. Now, I haven't looked at it online in terms of the turning circle, but I would assume that this one is a better turning circle than the Model Y. So you can see me here, which you can see on the side of me over here. The front camera I've switched to ultra wide, so you guys can get the full view of what that looks like. And then in terms of, I guess, the explanation of how wide this road is, I think realistically it could fit 4 cars across. So I'm parked here. You could have cars drive onto my right as a lane to go down. And then you could have another lane go up, and then you've got another one over the other side where you could technically park, similar to where I am now. So let's do the full turn, lock to lock, and we will see where we end up with. So let's just make sure the coast is clear. Alright, so as soon as we roll, we're going to turn the steering wheel and we'll see how we go. So this is full lock. So that clears it. So you'd end up hitting the cars that are parked here realistically. But as you can see in front, if I continue driving straight, just to give you guys, I guess, the context, we are probably in that 3rd row, as you can see next to this Toyota Camry over here. So it does exceed into that 4th lane, but you can turn across the entire place pretty easily, and I'll demonstrate again. So from here we'll do full lock, we'll go around, no need for a 3-point turn. However, as I said, you do cut into that lane. So there you have it. That is the turning circle on the EV6 rear-wheel drive GT-Line. So this is the custom EV sound. So this is the stylish sound. So the stylish, dynamic and cyber, and we're going to try stylish first, and then dynamic, and then cyber. So this is stylish. So now we are going to try dynamic. So this is the dynamic sound. So dynamic kind of sounds like there's a bit of a low V8 or motor type noise. I don't know if you can hear it here, but we'll aim to let you hear as much as we can. Okay, and the last one we'll try is the cyber sound. So this sounds more like the futuristic one where you've got that kind of more whiny noise. So there you have it. Those are the three EV sounds. Let me know what you think. So just want to show everyone how good the reversing camera quality is. So as you guys know, on the front there's a camera, on the back, and then just on these side mirrors just beneath there is as well. So we'll put the car into reverse, and you'll see that there is essentially the sensors here on the right side, and then over here by default it goes into reverse here on the main camera, and then there's a 360 surround. So indicate on the left, and you'll see also that over here this is the side mirror camera. So as we reverse, that's essentially what you see. And as you're getting closer, you can start to see the sensors starting to work in a moment. So there you go, those are the sensors. Now the other thing as well that you can do, so you can see over here that pretty close to the line, and there as well, there is also a different view that you can go. So on the back you've got this view here, you've got that view there, which is similar to that one there but just cut out. You've also got that one there. So that's the back, so that's similar to the Tesla view in terms of the back, so you can kind of see where you're at. And then this augmented reality one, I mean, you guys tell me, is this a gimmick or is this actually pretty cool? So you can see that I'm not straight over here and over here. So I'll show you guys what happens when you go into drive. So you can go into drive, and again you can move it into this view here. Other views you've got is this one here, which is one of my favorites. As a car enthusiast, you definitely don't want to gutter rash your rims. So you can see if I turn all the way to the left, turn all the way to the right, you can kind of see where your car is going to be steering, and you can also avoid hitting any I guess side footpaths or anything like that. So that's the wheels over there. You've got this one here, which essentially just shows you totally the back of the car, and you can also just go to the rear as a wide angle. On the front as well, you can also just go straight through to the front camera, which goes into a wide angle, or else more of a square angle, which is just a zoomed in version of that one there. And then as I showed earlier, sort of like the augmented reality one. So as I said, you can see we're kind of close to the line here and we're not over here. So we'll drive forward and see if we can fix that and see how that looks like. So if I'm turning on the wheels, you can see I'm turning the wheels to the right. You can see it's live and it's turning to the right as well. And all of that movement is all live. So we'll go back into reverse, and we'll now do it like that, and we can have a look. And as you're getting close to the other car, you know, let's turn it like that and see as well. I mean, you're really going to have to spend a lot of effort to have a look at this specifically, but what do you guys think? Do you think this is a gimmick or not? But that's essentially how it kind of looks like. And as you get to the back, the one thing you want to make sure you look at is the back to see how close you are. And yeah, so we'll put it back into park so this goes quiet. And yeah, you guys tell me, is it a gimmick or not? Tell me what you think, and let me know what you think of the quality. So I'll open that again. As you can see, that's essentially all the camera quality. I feel like it's pretty clear compared to a lot of other brands out there. So yeah, that's essentially all the parking. So supposedly we can use this to move the car out. So there's clearance on this side, there's clearance on this side. Now if I followed the instructions right, it said hold this down. Oh wait, you got to lock first and then hold this down. And you can hear the car starting. And now let's hold this forward. Oh, ooh. Oh, this is actually working. That's pretty cool. And let's stand out of the way. And stop. All right, so it's still on. We're gonna try reverse a little bit. So hold down the reverse still. Oh, oh my God, it's getting close. So we'll check around the other side. All right, and yeah, I'm just gonna stop there because call me a chicken, call me what you will. I'm not game enough to crash this loaner car. All right, guys, so we're driving here at night. What I want to give you guys a demonstration on, and hopefully you guys can see it quite clearly in the video. I'm trying to demonstrate the HUD, or the heads-up display. So it's essentially adjustable. What you can see straight up in front of you is the current speed limit, lane keeping control, and then on my steering wheel, if I actually push there's a steering wheel button. If I push that, you'll see that it just showed up on the left hand side, and it's showing up as green, because what that essentially means is that it is going to also steer for me. Now, how well does it work? Not too well, to be honest, but at least there is a feature. It somewhat works okay if you're just doing long distance highway driving, but a lot of the times I do feel like it tries to take over a bit too much, and it's a little too abrupt for my liking. And as I said, the speed limit is there. Now, just take note that it isn't based on GPS location. It's actually based on whatever speed signs it reads. So if you go past a school zone, it will essentially think that you're in a 40 zone, even if you're exceeding the speed limit. This is essentially the settings for augmented reality display at the moment. Yeah, there's also another settings. I think it's basic or something. We'll look at that in a moment. And you also do have the ability to get some GPS directions there. But the only call out, or the caveat, is that it is only if you use the Kia navigation. It doesn't work if you're using your normal navigation through the likes of your smartphone. So if you're using like Google Maps or Waze or anything like that, forget it. This is basically what you see on screen is probably the best that you can have. You're not going to get directions. So I'm using the Kia GPS now. I've just punched in a location. So I'm about to hit navigate. And hopefully you see that little loading sign next to the kilometers per hour sign. It was spinning. Now it's just loading the destination. So I'm driving somewhere else now, and you can see that it's giving me the direction. So hopefully you guys could see that on camera, where it says 400, 300, and then it should essentially guide you through to your destination. So we'll see how good that is. So again, the directions on the right hand side for the GPS on the augmented reality, that only works if you're using the Kia display, the Kia GPS. So when you are using smartphone connectivity, you can forget about that. You're not going to get that navigation in there at all. So it is quite intuitive, and it's quite good, but unfortunately not for smartphones. So I personally don't think, if I had this car, I don't think I'd be using it that often, because I still trust Google Maps a lot more. And you can see that now this is the augmented reality part, so this is the first time I'm seeing this. So you can see there's an up arrow now to say that you need to start to veer to the right, just above the speed over there. So now you can also hopefully see there's a arrow that's kind of pulsing, I guess, from the left to the right, to say that this is pretty much where you got to turn. And so I'll zoom in a little bit 2 times. Hopefully you can see that a bit better. And the other thing we want to check out in a moment is the different types of heads-up display settings. So we've got augmented reality mode, and then we've got standard mode, and then you can turn it off. So again, this is augmented reality mode. We'll turn, and then we'll see what it says with the directions, and we'll switch to standard mode and see what else we see. Alright, so we are about to turn. Again, the pulsing comes on to say go and turn right. And now it's saying, now it's got the left arrow to say head to the left. And so if I switch to standard mode, you'll see it actually changes. So it's like it stacks the GPS directions. So you can see now it says Windsor Road as an example, 80 40 meters and so forth. As you veer to the left 5 meters, now that goes on to the next one, turn right onto Norwest Boulevard. So it stacks all the directions. So it's good in the sense that you can actually see all of the upcoming directions in terms of where you need to be or where you need to go. So this again is standard mode, and then we'll jump back to augmented reality mode. Which has that 3D map. So again, I'll switch quickly so you guys can see. Let me know in the comments below which one you guys like and which one you're a fan of. For me, I think the augmented reality looks a lot cooler. And the one thing that I haven't been able to show you guys yet is the ultrasonic sensors and how it looks like when it senses a car that is close by. I'm driving at night, so there's not really that many cars, and there's no one kind of besides me, so I don't know if I can actually get a chance to show you guys, but we will attempt to. Essentially what I want to try to show you guys is just the fact that there's a waves icon. There's actually an approaching car now, so hopefully you'll see it. Hopefully that's caught that on camera. So the left hand side with the exclamation mark and the red waves, that's just because that car, there's a car that's on my left up ahead that's just gone through, and it's just past me, and so it was in my blind spot, and the car just wanted to notify me that, hey, there's a car that's close by to you, don't just merge out or turn, because you'll probably smash it. So besides what I've shown you guys on the screen, the only other thing really is just the settings in terms of raising it up, down, left, right, and rotating the display. I have personally kept it at this same distance, which essentially means when I'm driving, my eyes are on the road, I can see the cars in front of me, and the speed and what you see here is essentially at the lower bumper of the car. So there's not a lot of distractions, for instance, things like the number plates or the glare from any brake lights or anything like that. It's just a perfect and easy way to see. So hopefully that gives you guys a lot of context, and I guess a good example of what the heads-up display looks like in this Kia. And yeah, any questions, drop it in the comment box below. We are here at our destination for the time being, and so yeah, look, like I said, if you got any questions, drop it in the comments below and I'll be happy to answer it there. Hope you guys enjoyed, and hope you guys have a good understanding of what the heads-up display is like now. And just in terms of reversing, we'll just give it one go just to see if when we are backing up, if we're getting close to the vehicle behind, if it shows anything. So you can probably hear the beeps. I'm pretty close to the car behind, and so just confirming that no, you do not see anything else there. So there's no further notifications. Alright, so we've got a couple of things we want to run through today. It's, what day is it today? Today is Wednesday. I've had the car for just a few days over the weekend, and we're going to return the car on Friday. So probably second last full day that I've got the car. I've driven to the city today, and I guess we want to test a couple of things. So it is raining. It's unfortunate, but we won't be able to test the 0 to 100 because wet weather, obviously. However, I do have a couple of other things in store for you in terms of some testing. So one of the things that I guess I want to test at the moment, and the only thing we'll need to bear in mind, is that it's raining right now. I want to test how loud or quiet it is in the car. So I've got an app I'm running called Decibel X, I think it is. Besides the rain, I'm going to go quiet for a moment. We're just going to drive, and I'm going to show you guys as a comparison how quiet it is in this car, because realistically I found it to be really, really quiet, and it's quite well insulated. So when I was in the car park just then, I had the aircon running. It was less than 1 decibel difference, so very, very minor. So in the case of what we're going to test, I think it was 55 or something when it was totally quiet. Now that we're out and about at the moment, we're going to test and see how loud it is on the inside. So I'm just going to stay quiet, and you guys can enjoy the view of the drive, and we'll see how quiet it gets. Alright, so we're just under sort of like a tunnel underpass at the moment. So average, just driving normally or rolling through, is just a bit over 50 decibels, and I'll put a chart that gives you, I guess, an idea of what sounds are around 50 decibels and louder, so you guys can compare. And here's with the rain. So with the rain just then was about 77 decibels, 76, 77. So there you guys have it. That's the initial test just on how loud it is in the car. So as I said, as we're rolling through, it's about 50 odd decibels in the car. And with the rain at the moment, I think it was about, did I say 70 something? Let's double check. About 70 odd to 75. Again, it depends on how hard the rain hits, right? So even then, that kind of gives you a good idea of how quiet it is. We'll have to test it in our Model Y and in other cars in the future, so you guys can, I guess, have a good comparison on how quiet the interior is. So that's essentially it from a sound side of things. So anyway, let's talk about some stuff with the car. So picked it up on Friday, we've driven, let's have a look at how far we've driven so far. Let me just scroll through the settings. So this car was delivered with a full charge. So far I've driven about 201.4 kilometers. The average consumption so far is 17.8 kilowatt hours per 100 k's, and we've spent 10 hours 51 in the car. Now mind you, we haven't really sat here for 10 hours 51. There's been a lot of the times where I've just been sitting in the car with the aircon on and just talking through things and exploring the menu options and things like that. But so far, let's start from the beginning. So when you start the car, so what I have noticed is from a regen side of things, so there's a couple of modes you've got. So you can start with level 0, level 1, 2, 3, and then max. Max is essentially I-pedal or one-pedal driving, as they call it. And essentially the other three are just the levels of regen braking that you want. So if you go level 0, it essentially should act like a normal ICE vehicle, whereby you essentially drive, you let go of the accelerator and the car just hangs and it starts to roll slowly, and it comes eventually to a stop, but extremely slow, and then it just moves through as you progress through the different levels. On iPedal, that supposedly is going to allow you just to drive one pedal driving, which is what mode we're currently on at the moment, and that should essentially at close mimic what Tesla does in their vehicles for the one pedal driving. There is one thing that I have found out, and that is just based on reading and social media online. I have found that with one pedal driving, the brake lights actually don't go on. So correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but that's what my understanding is, and that there will be a fix from Kia that will be sometime late next year, or early or late next year, sometime next year in 2024, that will roll out. So what that means is, when you're driving at the moment, if you're driving on any of the other pedal settings, if you do need to use your brakes, your brake lights go on as per normal. However, if you're on one pedal driving and the car does slow down, the brake lights actually don't trigger. So that's essentially one thing that I've learned. Other things I've learned, that there's a couple of different drive modes. So by default, as I showed you guys in the menu earlier on, you've got eco, you've got normal, and you've got sport mode. By default, the car always switches to normal. And also, speaking of which, on the regen settings, by default, so if I had it on iPedal, when I turn off the car, when I turn it back on, by default it also goes to level 3. It doesn't stay on one pedal driving. But back onto the comment around the car itself. So eco, normal, and sport mode. I found that when you turn off the car, you turn it back on, it always just defaults back to normal mode, doesn't stay on sport mode. And the screen does look somewhat different. So the way that I'd like to kind of see it, and I'd like to explain it to you guys, is when you're driving in normal mode, it literally does just feel like a normal everyday car. It doesn't feel like a really fast car or anything like that, but it does pick up decent speed. Remember, this thing only has about 168 kilowatts, right? But it does have 350 Newton meters of torque, which is pretty good. So yeah, and it's quite gradual in terms of stepping on the power, right? So I'm going 50 k's an hour at the moment, and if I put my foot straight down, you know, it's already doing 60 k's within, I'd say, 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds at most. You'll be doing 60 odd k's. So is the car going to get you in trouble? Yeah, potentially it will, because it's an EV. At the end of the day, you've got instant torque, and so yeah. What the other mode is sports mode. Now, as an example, for me to maintain speed, I'm probably putting my foot down a quarter of the way. And if I need to put my foot down any further, that's when the car starts to accelerate. If I actually switch to the drive mode to sport, which I'll do now, straight away at the same level of pressure that I'm putting on my foot, the car sort of jumps forward a little bit. And the reason for that is because it's designed on sports mode to be a lot more sensitive. So whilst I'm saying, you know, about 25% pressure I need to put down to get to accelerate, in sport mode you probably got to put less effort down to have the same, if not more, level of acceleration. The bit that I'm not too fond of at this point in time, and maybe this is something that just takes time to get used to, is that in sport mode the accelerator pedal is extremely sensitive. So, you know, it's a matter of even just a light touch that you'll start to accelerate. And so what does that mean? So what that means to you guys is that when you guys are driving, you need to be able to keep your foot really still. And if you can't keep your foot really still, that means you're either going to be braking or you'll be accelerating. But you're going to have an inconsistent speed on sport mode if you can't hold your feet still, and if you can't hold the pedal still, sorry. So my recommendation, if you are interested in this car and if you are going to go for a test drive, drive in sport just to see what it's all about. But ultimately, I would say drive in normal, because you're probably going to be using that mode most of the time. It's not as sensitive and it feels more like comfortable to drive. It's not as sensitive, also meaning that, you know, it won't be as jerky. So that's that mode. The other thing I did notice is the screen kind of changes the colors, as I would have shown earlier on. The one thing I didn't mention is on your accelerate, on the normal consumption meter at the bottom of the screen over here, it does show in sport mode just torque with 0 to 100. I presume that's 0 to 100% torque, and it's just got a gauge to kind of show you how much torque you're pushing at once. When you do switch it over to eco or normal, the car slumps all of a sudden because it is using, I guess, less power. But then the consumption down the bottom does switch to kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. Alright, so the next thing we want to at some point in time try and measure is the speedo accuracy, in terms of how accurate the speedo actually is reporting when the car says whatever kilometers we're at. And so you guys may be familiar on the channel that I'm using a Racebox mini device. So 25 Hz GPS, so it refreshes 25 times per second, so extremely accurate. And we'll weigh that against the car to see how accurate the car is. It's most of the time it's probably going to report lower. So, you know, for example, if it's 100 kilometers an hour, it's probably going to report something under, just so that from a manufacturer side of things, there's not going to be any issues in terms of going at real speeds, and especially when you're crossing things like speed cameras and whatnot. Again, so cruise control, 50 k's an hour. The car is reporting in at 47 kilometers an hour. Let's go up to 60 k's an hour. So 60 k's an hour reports at 56.6, 56.7. So 56.7 seems to be the average at 60 k's an hour. So we'll have to get some, I guess, distance to go up to 70 k's. But that is essentially 50 and 60 k's an hour that we've tested. We're slowing down. Maybe we'll check up on 40 k's an hour as well right now. So at 40 k's an hour, which is about right now, it's about 36, I think it was 37 kilometers an hour at 40. So let's hit, we've done 40, 50, 60, now we're doing 70. That's the next one that we need to just quickly check. So at 70 k's an hour, we are doing 66 point something, 67? No, 66 point something, 66.5 at the most that I've seen. So at 70 k's an hour, you're doing 66.5. Gonna head into the right lane and we'll up it to the next speed limit. Okay, so final one for the time being. At 80 k's an hour, we are doing 76 point... Is it 76? Hold on. Yeah, it's about 76. So I don't really... I see about 76 point... 77, sorry. I lie. So yeah, I saw 77 k's an hour. So at 80 kilometers an hour, you're doing about 77. So there you have it. Now let's talk cruise control. So at the moment I've got cruise control on and off. So the way you use it is you push, there's a button here on the steering wheel that you push that looks like a cruise control icon. You push that and then essentially it automatically picks up the speed that you want to go, and it just tries to match that. Now if you hold down, there's a left arrow button over here to pull up and down, and what that up and down essentially does is helps you adjust the speed by 1 kilometer increments. If you hold it down, by default what it actually does is it brings you, if you're already going faster than that, by default it pulls the speed up to whatever that speed is. So as an example, if I'm on cruise control at 50 k's an hour and all of a sudden we hit a 60 zone and I'm doing 61, if I hold down the up arrow, it automatically goes to 61. And the same thing works the opposite way to come down the speed as well. What I have found though, and I'll just put on cruise control now, is that the car struggles to maintain the speed compared to the Tesla. So it absolutely works fine. The distance works fine as well. It works really well. The bit that it fails to do is maintain the speed when it comes to downhills and uphills, even if I've got it on the maximum regen. So at the moment I'm doing 80 k's an hour. It's pretty flat. The car's doing 80. It hasn't exceeded 80 or it hasn't gone below. What I have found though is when you hit a bit of a downhill or a uphill, the speed adjusts a little bit and it does actually go over those speeds. Now there are no settings as far as I've seen, and correct me if I'm wrong guys in the comments, but I haven't seen any settings around that. So at the moment, just then it did flick over to 81 for a little bit, but the good side of things is we've just tested the GPS and we know that we're actually not doing 80 k's an hour, so we're doing a couple of kilometers less. So just then it also did drop down to 79. So I know in the Tesla there are settings in there to say you want the absolute value or to be the same speed you're going. You can also set a threshold to go up or down, so that if you do need to go faster, it does go faster or above that kilometer, that speed. But I didn't see any settings in this car, so that's something to be mindful of, that the the Speedo Accuracy in terms of maintaining the speed on cruise control isn't as accurate as what I'd like it to be. And yeah, now it's dropped again down to 79. The other thing that doesn't work as well, I have found, is we've just hit some heavy rains out here. Hopefully this is actually recording all of it so I can actually show you guys what I'm actually going through. This is how dedicated I am to make you guys videos. Really heavy rains, and I just see a person on a motorbike over there. I feel sorry for them, they'd be drenched. But anyways, what I was going to say was in relation to the cruise control functions. So lane keeping, it does come up as a warning a fair bit. It's not amazing. Then you've also got the steering control, so sort of like auto steer. Is it any good? No. If you turn it on, you will see that you will feel that it's very intrusive. So it likes to steer randomly, a bit left, a bit right. I have also found that you can't maintain its speed within the lane really well. So if we're going uphill, the speed will drop, and then it might actually, it might be that there's a green light to say yes, it's going to steer you, and all of a sudden it just goes off. So you definitely do need to be alert. It's not something that you should actually take your eyes off the road, or you can kind of relax a bit, similar to what I was mentioning earlier on about autopilot. So I personally would not be comfortable in just leaving it and trusting the car to navigate through compared to autopilot. So there's definitely work to be done, Kia, on the lane keeping and the auto steering components. Alright, so what else do we need to talk about? So general driving, how does it feel? So look, it feels like a normal car. It feels fine. It drives the way I thought it would drive, besides the sensitivity thing around the sport mode and the normal mode. The regen, as I said, doesn't kick in as hard. How comfortable am I? Like I've mentioned, or I think I've mentioned, the seats definitely walk all over the current Model Y. Much better. They're breathable. You've got cooling seats as well. I'm a big fan. So, you know, if you said that you could get these in the Model Y, sold. But I also do know that the new Model 3, the Highland model, they've also got it as well. So fantastic. Now, other things. So I'm one of the type of drivers that I like to lean my arm to the right over here, as you might be able to see. It's not that comfortable here compared to the Model Y and some other cars. It's really thin over here, and so what that means is it's pretty much sitting on my funny bone, or my funny bone sort of resting on it. So it's not too fantastic in that instance. Steering wise, that's another feedback point that I'd like to mention. From a steering wise side of things, there is no adjustment, or maybe there is, but I don't feel it. So switching between the modes Eco, Normal and Sport, I would normally expect three things. I would expect normally steering, from a sports car side of things anyway, I would expect steering to stiffen up between the modes. I would expect suspension to soften up or stiffen up depending on the modes. And I would expect a difference in the acceleration in terms of the pedal feel. So with sports mode and normal mode and all of that, the only difference I'm feeling and I'm seeing is on the pedal sensitivity. I'm not feeling anything from, I guess, the steering side of things, and I would say this probably is, I guess, on the middle ground. It's not stiff, it's not too loose, but it is on the looser end in terms of steering. So my other car is a Kia Carnival, and if I had to compare to that, that's probably a bit looser than this car. So that's probably where I'd say, where I'd rate it. The auto wipers, I can say, works better than the Tesla at the moment, for sure. There's no comparison. This works a lot better. However, there was a time during the auto low speed, I have found it did not wipe. So I guess in some instances it's similar to Tesla, but in some instances it's also better. And let's double check if it's recognized the speed sign. So at the moment it still recognizes 100 down here and 100 on my Speedo. We've just gone past 80. Both of them have updated. So it does read the LED or LCD signs pretty well. It has updated the speeds. Another piece of feedback, I guess, is the screen itself is a little far. Similar to my Kia Carnival, you actually do need to lean forward. Me just stretching my arms out, I can only barely just touch it. But I would say that if you lean forward, you'd have no issues. So it would have been nice if it was just brought a little bit closer. You will also notice, and I think I've covered it off in the videos, the aircon settings and the music settings down over here. You can actually switch between both, between your normal car settings, music and all of that. That's really clean, but at the same time it kind of gets annoying if you just quickly want to push setup, or you want to go volume down as an example over there as opposed to the steering wheel. All of that means you still have to touch one of the buttons, and because it's a touch screen, it's similar to the Tesla in the sense of you have to be pretty accurate. You'd have to pinpoint that actual button to make sure you're tapping the right thing. So just a little quirk, I guess, at the end of the day that makes it a bit annoying at the same time, but it also looks nice. So I don't know if it's if the rain is getting in the way of the sensors or anything, but as I'm driving, I'm actually noticing that the waves or the blind spot sensors are not going off. Normally they would go off, as far as I'm aware, when there's a car that's close by, or it's unless it's once you get to a certain speed. If I've got it wrong, correct me in the comment below. But I'm noticing that the side warning lights on the on the blind spots isn't showing up on the side mirror, and it's also not showing up in the heads-up display. One thing as well that I've noticed over the past couple of days driving the car is that where the camera is mounted on the boot, and I don't have a picture unfortunately, but I will put an overlay of how exactly where it is, just so you guys have the context. Where it's mounted when it rains is absolutely horrible. I have found that rain drops and it holds the water there, so when you are in reverse, the rear camera is redundant. So it's really no good. So I've got the same issue at the moment, and I understand it probably is for every single car that has the side repeater cameras or the blind spot cameras. There's raindrops all over it now, so it's a bit hard to see. That bit I get because that's all in the standard spot, but I would have thought that from a rear camera side of things, you would have been able to mount it somewhere underneath a panel or something, so that even when it rains, it doesn't block the vision. So I feel like that was something that wasn't thought about too well. And the other thing I want to talk about is the sound system. So it's got a premium sound system in the GT-Line spec. Is it amazing? I haven't found it to be amazing, to be honest. You can pump music loud, but you definitely do hear the distortion. You don't have a whole heap of bass, and yeah, I don't think there's much more to say. It works. There's not much bass. You know, if you configure the setting and you do change it up, you do hear distortion. So it's not, if you're expecting, I guess, club-like music, or you know, some really clear loud music, whatever it is, orchestral, you know, acoustics, you name it, this probably isn't going to do the job for you, unfortunately. And again, that's my opinion, just based on some of the songs and musics that I've played. So guys, that wraps it up for a very detailed Kia EV6 rear-wheel drive GT-Line review. I hope you guys really enjoyed it, because I sure did enjoy driving and testing pretty much all the features. It was a shame that I didn't have time to record or do anything in relation to the V2L, but never fear, because I do have something else coming real soon. So I guess in summary, some of the couple of things that I really like about the car: camera quality for the car, or the cameras around the car, top notch, really clear compared to a lot of other cars, and they really do help you guys navigate through those tight spaces. The seats, I feel like they definitely, and I have mentioned that earlier, they definitely are much better than the current Tesla Model 3 Model Ys. Not talking about the Highland that's just literally arrived over the past week, but the current gen Model 3 Model Ys. In terms of those seats, they're not breathable, so I feel like these ones did do a lot better job managing the heat, and also because you do have ventilated seats in the GT line, so that really did help. The other thing as well is because Kia and also Hyundai have local ride and handling tuning. Even though it was on 20-inch wheels, it was pretty comfortable. And the other thing I really liked was just being able to use the remote to go forward and backwards out of like a tight spot. So similar to what Tesla has as Summon. I thought it was pretty convenient. I did try it once in the garage, and that's pretty much the extent of it. But I can see that in shopping centres, if there are tight spots, it does make all of that easier. Even if you are parked in, I guess, reversed in, and you do need to move the car a bit further out just so you could open the boot, I think there's a couple of use cases there that I thought was pretty handy, and I thought that was a neat addition. Some things that I have questions on, or I guess I'm not too fond of. And this is only because I've currently got a Tesla, and I've been so used to it over the past 10, 11 months that I've had it.
why is there a start button or a power button for the car when it's an EV? When you open the door, you're essentially needing to use the car. So why is the power not on? So for instance, I can't start the aircon on for the vehicle unless I push the power button to engage the aircon. So that's just a general question I have. Also for the regen brake, I could not for the life of me find out how to keep it permanently on one pedal driving. So even though the regen settings, you can go like 0, 1, 2, 3, and then it turns into I pedal, I think that's called, or one pedal driving. Every time I turned off the car and I started it back, it always went to number 3. So this essentially the strongest level of regen, but not so much for the one pedal driving. So that's a question I have. I think as well for the car overall package, I think missing Kia Connect app is such a big disappointment. I do hope and wish that they do come, and I also hope that they can retrofit it to the current owners, because using the Tesla over the past 10 to 11 months, I've found that it's been really useful, especially in the heat, being able to just precondition your car whenever you want, and also having other functions like being able to view the cameras. Now, I'm not too sure on the specifics of what Kia Connect app can do, besides turning on aircon, so I can't comment too much there, but at the bare minimum, I think it would have been a real big game changer and a big added bonus for Kia EV6 owners. And so another thing that I didn't really like was probably the steering. So what I mean by that, there's modes also on normal sport settings. There was normal settings, and then I think it was economy or comfort. Essentially those 3. I felt like when you change between them, from a driving side of things, the sports mode, the pedal is way too sensitive. So it's literally like 0.5 centimeter to 1 centimeter of gap difference from when you're just cruising to when you're actually accelerating a lot harder and faster. So I felt that was really, really sensitive in that instance, and it just didn't make the ride feel as smooth. So driving in the normal mode felt, I guess, a lot more smoother. And on that point also, the settings between comfort, normal and sports, it was really, from what I felt in my experience, was the drive pedal was the only difference. There was no difference in sensitivity on your steering. So I felt that was a bit of a disappointment, as I would have thought that you would have had at least steering and maybe pedal feel difference. So that wasn't, and essentially it was just soft steering that you could use the entire time. And so whilst it was a really easy car to drive, even in sports mode, it just meant that the accelerator pedal would be a lot more sensitive as opposed to anything for the steering wheel. So yeah, that essentially wraps it up. Look, if you've got any questions on that, drop it in the comments below. Hopefully if this video helped you, then yeah, let me know, because it really does take a long time to go through all of the detailed reviews, and I'd really appreciate any feedback that you guys have. Other than that, give it a like if you did enjoy it, subscribe for more content, and we'll see you soon in the next one.